Imagine a world captivated by a new element promising eternal youth and boundless energy. This was the world at the dawn of the 20th century, and the miracle element was radium. For a group of young women in Orange, New Jersey, this shimmering substance offered more than scientific wonder. It provided independence and a good wage. They were known as the Ghost Girls, the Luminous Girls, but history would remember them as the Radium Girls. Their story, however, is not one of a scientific marvel, but of a dark deception that would forever alter the course of industrial safety. It is a story of immense suffering, a fight for justice against a corporate giant, and a legacy that continues to save lives. This is the story of the women who paid the ultimate price for a miracle that was a lie. In the early 1920s, the United States Radium Corporation in Orange, New Jersey, was a bustling hub of activity. Here, young women were employed to paint watch dials with a special luminous paint containing radium. The work was considered prestigious, paid well, and the girls were envied for their financial independence. They were instructed that the radium paint was harmless. In fact, to achieve a finer tip on their brushes, they were encouraged to use a technique called lip pointing, twirling the bristles between their lips. With each stroke, they ingested a small amount of the deadly substance. Trusting their employers, the girls saw no reason to question this practice, even playfully painting their teeth and nails to see them glow in the dark. The pressure to produce was immense, with bonuses offered for painting the most dials, which only further incentivized the dangerous lip pointing. The girls, unaware of the silent poison they were consuming, fostered a close-knit community in the studio. What they didn't know was that the company's chemists and physicists handled the raw radium powder with lead screens and tongs for protection. The dial painters, however, were offered no such precautions. This stark contrast reveals the company's chilling disregard for its female employees. The shimmering dust that settled on their clothes and hair, making them glow, was a badge of honor they embraced. This Ghost Girl moniker would later take on a deeply tragic meaning. The deception was a profound betrayal of trust, prioritizing profits over people. The first signs of trouble were subtle: a persistent toothache, an ache in the jaw, or fatigue. The young, healthy women initially dismissed these symptoms. They visited local dentists who were baffled by the severe and unusual tooth decay they encountered. Extractions were common, but the wounds wouldn't heal. Instead, they festered, leading to debilitating and excruciatingly painful infections. Doctors, unfamiliar with radium poisoning, were at a loss. Meanwhile, the girls' health continued to decline, their vibrant energy slowly draining away as the poison silently worked its way through their bodies. One of the first to succumb was Molly Magia. She quit her job in 1922 due to a toothache. Her dentist extracted the tooth, but the socket never healed. Soon, more teeth were removed as the infection spread, consuming her jawbone. The pain was unbearable. Within a year, Molly was dead. Her death certificate listed the cause of death as syphilis, a deliberate lie by the company to discredit her and obscure the truth. As more of Molly's former colleagues began to experience similar, horrifying symptoms, a sense of unease began to spread. The Ghost Girls were no longer just glowing, they were wasting away, their bodies consumed by an invisible enemy. The luminous deception was unraveling, and the fight for justice was about to begin. The initial dismissal of symptoms gave way to a horrifying reality. The radium, mistaken by the body for calcium, had settled in the women's bones, relentlessly emitting radiation from within. This caused their bones to crumble, a condition that became known as radium jaw. The pain was described as a deep, gnawing ache that never subsided. Teeth would fall out, and jawbones would become so brittle they could fracture with the slightest pressure. These once vibrant young women became frail and gaunt, their faces disfigured by the grotesque effects of the poison, as their bodies consumed themselves from the inside out. The physical toll was immense, but the psychological suffering was just as profound. The girls were ostracized by their communities, their illnesses often wrongly attributed to syphilis, a malicious rumor actively promoted by the U.S. Radium Corporation to avoid liability. This malicious campaign added social shame to their physical agony. They were betrayed by a company they had trusted, which was now actively working to destroy their reputations. The medical community was slow to recognize the cause, as the long-term effects of radium were not yet widely understood. Many doctors, influenced by company propaganda, dismissed the girls' claims. However, a few dedicated individuals began to suspect a connection. Dr. Harrison Matland, the medical examiner of Essex County, became a crucial figure in uncovering the truth. His autopsies of the deceased Radium Girls provided undeniable proof of radium in their bones. His groundbreaking research was instrumental in establishing the link between their work and their illnesses, paving the way for the legal battles to come. The individual stories of the Radium Girls are a testament to their incredible suffering. Grace Fryer endured years of pain as her spine collapsed. Edna Husband suffered from a decaying jaw. These women, once full of life, now faced a slow, painful death. Amidst their suffering, a spark of defiance was ignited. They refused to be silent victims and were determined to hold the U.S. Radium Corporation accountable. The company, however, continued to deny all responsibility. They employed their own doctors who invariably declared the girls healthy, and used their considerable legal power to obstruct and delay justice. The legal system was biased towards corporations, and the statute of limitations for occupational injuries was a mere 2 years. By the time the full extent of the girls' illnesses was clear, it was legally too late. The odds were stacked against them, but with the help of a young lawyer named Raymond Berry, the Radium Girls were not ready to give up. The Radium Girls' legal battle was a landmark case. Led by Grace Fryer, 5 women sued the U.S. Radium Corporation. Their lawyer, Raymond Berry, took the case pro bono, outraged by the company's callousness. The company's lawyers used every tactic to delay proceedings, hoping the women would die before their day in court. They argued that the 2-year statute of limitations had passed, making the lawsuit invalid. It seemed an impossible fight, but public opinion was about to shift dramatically. The media was crucial in this shift. As the details of the girls' suffering emerged, the story became a national sensation. The case of the 5 women doomed to die captured the public's imagination and sparked widespread outrage. The Radium Girls, once discredited, were now seen as tragic heroines, symbols of corporate greed. The media coverage put immense pressure on both the company and the legal system. Journalist Walter Lippmann wrote scathingly about the case, calling it a damnable piece of enterprise, which helped galvanize public support for the women. The courtroom drama was intense. The women, weakened in constant pain, endured grueling cross-examinations. Yet the scientific evidence presented by Dr. Matland was irrefutable. The presence of radium in their bodies was undeniable. One of the most powerful moments came when Grace Fryer, too weak to raise her arm to take the oath, had to be helped. This poignant image, circulated in newspapers, solidified public sympathy and left no doubt about the women's suffering. Faced with mounting public pressure and damning evidence, the U.S. Radium Corporation finally agreed to a settlement in 1928. The 5 women each received $10,000 and a yearly pension of $600 for as long as they lived, plus coverage for all medical and legal expenses. While a victory, it was bittersweet. The money could not restore their health, and for some, it came too late. However, their fight set a crucial legal precedent, establishing the right of individual workers to sue employers for damages from occupational diseases. Their courage inspired others, including workers at the Radium Dial Company in Illinois, who won their own case in the 1930s. Together, these cases led to major improvement in industrial safety and the eventual creation of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. The story of the Radium Girls is one of suffering, but also of incredible courage and a lasting legacy. Their fight for justice forever changed the landscape of workers' rights in the United States. Their case was a direct catalyst for reform, leading to safety regulations that continue to protect millions. The creation of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration can be traced back to the public outcry and legal precedents they set. The tragic irony is that their deaths saved countless lives by forcing industries to value human life over profit. The scientific legacy of the Radium Girls is equally profound. The study of their illnesses led to a much deeper understanding of the long-term effects of radiation on the human body. Dr. Matland's research and subsequent studies of the women's remains, still radioactive today, provided invaluable data that helped establish safe exposure limits for radiation. Their bodies became an unwilling but crucial source of scientific knowledge, informing safety protocols for the nuclear industry and medical treatments involving radiation for decades to come. Their story serves as a powerful cautionary tale about unchecked corporate power. The U.S. Radium Corporation's deliberate deception is a stark reminder of the potential for profit to be prioritized over people. The Radium Girls' fight proved that even the most powerful corporations can be held accountable when individuals are brave enough to speak out. Their story continues to resonate today, in an era where debates about corporate responsibility and workers' rights are as relevant as ever. The memory of the Radium Girls is kept alive through books, documentaries, and plays. They were ordinary young women thrust into extraordinary circumstances who became pioneers of the labor rights movement out of necessity. Their legacy is not just in the laws that were changed or the scientific knowledge that was gained. It is in the enduring power of their story to remind us of the importance of justice and the fundamental right to a safe workplace. The next time you see a glowing object, remember the Radium Girls. Remember their story, their suffering, and their incredible courage that created a legacy of change.
The story of the Radium Girls is a stark reminder of a time when profit overshadowed human life. These women, with their glowing smiles, were unwitting sacrifices at the altar of progress. Yet their story is not just a tragedy. It is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Their fight for justice, born from pain, laid the groundwork for a safer future for countless others, forcing a nation to recognize the fundamental right to a safe workplace. The ghostly glow that once clung to them has faded, but the light of their legacy shines on, a beacon of hope and a solemn promise that their sacrifice will never be forgotten.